So Tim Francis here from Profit Factory with Jack Stack, writer of The Great Game of Business. Back in 1992, the book came out, and we've just finished the semi-annual sales and marketing meeting. 36th meeting, I think, is what I heard.
60 something.
60
64, 65, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And over 30 years of doing this.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
So I'm fascinated to know, Jack, that with over 30 years experience doing this now, what would Mr. Jack Stack of today tell Mr. Jack Stack of 30 plus years ago, based on all the experience and insight that you have now into open book management, employee share ownership, mini games, all the features that you've put together with Great Game of Business?
Well, what I would say is where I'm not downgrading practices like customer service and delivery and quality and the basics of the business. All right. What I learned was that we made mountains out of molehills, and we went out and told people that if you did that, it would change your life forever. And so I spent a long time learning how to make great products and great services. And during that period of time, there was so much emphasis on the product and the services, there was no emphasis on the company. And when we lost our company, and we had good products and good services, I found out that there was another measurement in the marketplace, and that was how you measure the success of a good company. And I said to myself, why in the world weren't we taught how to make a company? I mean, I wasn't going to discard quality and service and all the elements of making a great product and great service, but wouldn't I make a better product and better service if, in fact, I created a greater company? That was a tremendous lesson that I learned. There was more value in creating a business. What I began to learn was when you begin to start teaching people how to create a successful company, you get better products and services. And I really began to realize that if I ever had a company, I would teach people the metrics of the business, and I would then totally understand that as a result of teaching what it took to survive and to create them, to transfer the mindset of the product and the service to the company, you'd not only have better products and services, you'd have a better company. And so when I began to teach people how a company was looked at and how a company was evaluated in the financial measurements of the company, we did get better quality, we did get better service, and we got better financial results. And so the company was able to sustain itself over a long period of time. So I guess the bottom line is that it's all about sustainability, and it's a culmination of not just looking at your associates and said it's all about quality management or it's all about scalability. It's just all about the top line. That's not it. Okay, it is what are the ratios, what are the success factors that you really need, and let the company be the product. All right, and build the company.
I think that was my number one takeaway from your second book, Staking the Outcome, was instead of focusing on the product as the product, is focusing on the business as the product.
Right, exactly. Because what will happen is that it will tell you, if you listen, the directions and the strategies that you need to take in order to build an enduring and sustainable company over a long period of time. But you got to listen, and then you have to have the courage to fix, the messages and what the conversation says.
Right. So maybe could you give one final comment? So one of your parting words here was about trust and vulnerability.
Yeah.
And could you speak to trust and vulnerability in this day and age where we've got the internet and corporate scandals, government scandals?
That's really interesting that you say that, is that I just feel like we're getting further and further apart, not closer and closer together. I mean, my kids today, they just text. I mean, I can't even make a phone call. They don't answer it, but if I text them, they immediately text me back. And it just seems like the world is getting so impersonal. We don't sit down and see people's emotions or see people's reactions. And, and there's always some kind of a veil in front of us in terms of really, sitting down and talking about how we really feel about something and how we can really learn from each other and how we can share each other's experiences. And it just seems like we're getting dumber and dumber and dumber. Okay, I hate to say it. When you think that we're developing these accelerated learning processes, okay, but so much has to do with the heart and so much has to do with the soul. I remember vividly interviewing one guy one time, and it was a really smart candidate out of one of the best Ivy League schools, and had just got his MBA, and my God, he knew everything to say, he knew everything to do, and there was something wrong. And I asked my team to take a look at it, and they came back and they said something very simple. He said, this person knows everything to do, but this person doesn't have a soul. This person's never walked the shop floor, it's never walked a store, never been in a managerial or leadership position yet. But at the same token, we teach them all the things that they need to do and execute, except when it comes to humanity and when it comes to people. And I thought that was probably one of the greatest stories, one of the greatest examples of my life. All right. The great game of business, the financials, are nothing more about stories about people, about stories about life. That's really what they are. And so we just put stories into numbers. And then what we do is we have a tendency to, decrease the emotions, replace it with the facts, okay? In order to be able to fix things, make life better, and build a sustainable and future life for everyone that wants to join the operation of the company. That has been our number one goal. Create a nice place to work, go home, raise your family, have a balanced life, and balance is a really tough thing to do, because it's like, being healthy, okay, and it's having a great family life and deciding on a religious pursuit and a work schedule. But that has its own inherent struggles, all right? And that's what balance is. You're never going to be really great at one of them, or you're going to lose the other. And so it's that whole thing of make the workplace safe, make the workplace sound, okay? Make it full of opportunities and hope, because those other three things that you could be dealing with are just difficult. And if we could make one of them a little bit easier, we could possibly change the world.
Wow. Profound. This is wonderful. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
Well, thank you. It was really nice to see you, and thank you for coming on board. Thank you. It was really nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.